Hello, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few moments. If you have any questions ahead of time, feel free to put them in the chat. I checked the pre-submitted questions about 10 minutes ago. So if you submitted one in the last like 10, 15 minutes or so, I do not have it just yet. So you can retype it or something along those lines. But like I said, if you have something specific you'd like to talk about today, feel free to put it in the chat and we can start putting some eyes on it. So thank you very much. And like I said, we'll get started here in just a couple moments. All right, thank you guys for joining, folks for joining. Like I said, we'll get started here in about 2 minutes or so. If you do have any questions that you'd like to, kind of some eyes on, feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A so we can start looking at them. Because as of right now, we do not have any. So once again, if you have any specific questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And we have a team on this side that can start putting some eyes on it. All right. Like I said, thank you all for joining. About 60 more seconds. And if we do not have any questions, I will just start demoing some stuff. But it is a little easier if we have something we can kind of be exploratory in together. So, oh, we got one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What did I say my custom date? All right. So we've had a couple more people join in. Like I said, we did get one question. So thank you, Elon. I got yours. We'll start with that one. That's the first one. Um, and then we'll get started here in just a moment. Hopefully get some more stuff in there and I'll start kind of building on my side. All right, so we have two now. Thank you guys so much. We'll start with Elon and then we'll work our way over to Brian. All right, we're about to jump on over and we will get started here. So go ahead and maybe start the process. So, Brian, you're super articulate in your question. I'm appreciative of that, but I will allow you to unmute in case you do have any clarifying stuff. But again, you were pretty articulate in your question. The question was, we have a page with a report and a PDF viewer. Sorry, wrong question. We're gonna start with Elon. So Elon, Brian, give me one moment. We'll start with Elon because his came in first. So Elon, I'm currently using a custom date filter that sits on a page and filters a report based on date inputs. Is there a way to automatically set the date inputs to null when navigating to a page rather than requiring the user to manually click on the clear filter button, which currently resets the filter values to null on an active form flow? There might be a couple workarounds here. Let's take a look and see if we can get some dates and some filters going and see if we can figure out some of this stuff. So we'll do a created on date just so we have a date. I don't have a lot of accounts on here. No, we'll do accounts. Apologies, assignment. Just because I know that we have at least some records in this instance. Account data source. There we go. All right. What is this little name? All right. So let's do some dates. And Elon, was that a good? You can unmute if you is that clear? Am I on the right path with that? You want to have a filter that is not going to filter anything until you select dates?
Yeah, just to give you some background. So, the date filter in the report doesn't have a native option in decisions to display all the data fields when no filter value is selected. So I'm trying to come up with a workaround for that. Right now, I have a active form flow that sets all the filter values to null when they click the clear filter button, but I want to know if there's like a way to maybe trigger it by page navigation or run at startup so that all the filter values are set to null initially when they navigate to that page versus having to click on that clear button to get all the data fields.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And your active form flow, the clear button, so the active form flow is triggered by the button to clear.
Yeah, so if they wanted to put in another filter, date filter, they would press the clear button and it sets all the values to null in the report, which shows all the visible data, basically refreshes.
Okay. Let's build some of this out. I think the field filter, would it be possible to set the active form flow to run at startup and have it set as null value so that when you go in and change?
See, that's what I was trying to do. I couldn't get it to work. And maybe I'm not configuring some things correctly with the run at startup trigger. So that's I guess why I'm here to try to figure out, is there a way to do that to run at startup?
Yeah, let's look at it together. I just made a quick report just so we can have something to look at. Should probably take that filter off, but oh, what am I doing here? What are you using to view the report? A data grid? Do you know?
Yes. A report viewer
Report
to
viewer.
view the report. Yes.
Oh, I missing one here. Did I accidentally do a simple? Man, what am I missing here? All right, so I'm struggling to find my thing here. Let me go to another instance. Maybe I'm just having problems with this one. Apologies. Because what I thought was working should have been working. What am I missing here? It's just a report viewer on a form. Am I going
Yeah.
crazy? Maybe I'm, yeah,
No, yeah. Um,
okay.
Talk about the advanced data grid,
Well, I asked, you said it was just a report viewer. That's what I originally thought was the advanced data grid.
or you're talking about a page in the page designer.
It's a form, she was saying, right? Alon, it's a form?
um, it's it's a report on a page.
Oh, okay, okay. So I thought when you're talking about active form flows, for some reason, I guess I jumped over and, um, so it's
The
a
active,
report viewer
yeah,
on a page.
yeah,
Apologies.
and
Okay, so there's a,
the active form flow is on the custom report filter or the
uh,
filter that I created, which is on a form,
okay.
and it's being run on the page by a flow run part.
So like a form tile. So you have active form, so it's a report viewer, active form flow on the form tile on a page. Got it.
Sorry for not making that clear.
No, you're okay. It's just a quick one for me, I guess. Report viewer. So I know that I have that report made. We got pick existing report. Just made it. The date filter. And you've got a form tile that updates it, you said?
I mean, I put it on a form and then I made a flow to show the form initially and then use it as a and put it on the page as a run flow part.
So what we're trying to do, Jared, is we have a date filter on a report that we want to by default set to null values so that they get, because before they were clicking a button to reset back to null, but they want the form to start on null value. So I was going to do a check their active form flow uh, to see if there was an option for like run at startup or something along those lines.
Do you know what form control you picked for the date picker or drop down list, or what's the?
Yeah, I used a date picker, a two and a or from and a two. I used a greater than value, and then I used a less than or equal to value in the report filter.
Okay,
And then I sent those parameters into the
gotcha,
report.
gotcha. On the date picker, just drag one over real quick. There is a. Do you have this configured all the way to the right where it says allow null?
Give me one sec.
Because by default, the date picker and the date time picker will automatically put a value in. But if you say allow null, then you can have a null value. And so when it starts, if your active form flow doesn't run at startup, then you should just have a null value. And so if you just put this on a flow, Robert, just to test that functionality. But I believe that's how it works.
We got allow null, allow null.
Well, I was just saying, just test the functionality of the allow null. So if you just save this, like create a form, allow null, Rob, and then add it to a flow and then just debug it. And verify nothing comes up at startup. There you go.
Okay, quick question. I don't, on my end, I don't see the allow null option for the data.
What form control are you using?
I'm using the date picker.
Is it under data? Did you have to expand data maybe?
Well, no,
it's-
she's
okay.
date picker. That's a different control. Type date picker.
Okay.
That one's date time. Let's see. Click on that one. Go to behavior. And then go ahead and close this and debug it and just see if that one auto populates. I think there might be another setting for this one. So this one seems like by default it does come in as null. Do you have another part of your process that fills it in, or?
No, I don't see it. Even on the page, it doesn't show anything for the report, but maybe it's because it's connected to a filter. It automatically wants to start filtering it. You would like, I have to manually like put in null, 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 and then hit run, basically is what the clear button is doing to get the report to show. Like when you connect this to a report, it's still, just because the field is null, like there's not showing any values, doesn't mean that the data with the report is showing all the values, because that's what it should do with nulls.
Do you have the only other thing we could check on the report on the filter side? I know when you have a report and you apply a filter, there's a checkbox to say, hey,
Allow no values.
well, it's not allow no values. It's show
No data.
all data. I mean, allow no values, yes, but there's also a I'm just blanked on what it is. Oh, like show all data if empty.
But not for the dates though.
Oh, is there not for the dates?
No, that's the issue that I'm running into. That's why I'm trying to find a workaround for that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's very odd. So go to the dates. The dates, there's no default nulls. Does that make sense? So if you preload it as null, go back to the report or the flow or the form. Let's see, because that port runs, it's on the dashboard. And then we can do set that as null, put the null up there. Let's do this. Go ahead and put your email in the chat. Let's take this offline and we'll just send you a project. I think we could do it. We would have to just test around some things to get it configured. But yeah, let's take it offline. If you put your email, we'll send you a project of that and how we work around that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so we'll move. It's a kind of a similar report question from Brian. It says we have a page with a report and a PDF viewer. We want the user to be able to click a row on the report and have the PDF viewer dynamically show the PDF data associated with that row of data. Our data is getting pulled in from SQL. We'll put that in the chat. Brian, feel free to, I think I can unmute you if you're still in the room. Hope you're already unmuted. Feel free to give us a little more insight if you can.
Yeah, sounds good. We basically have a page that's half of the page is a report and half the page is a PDF viewer. And we want a user to be able to click on a row from the report, and PDF viewer dynamically updates and pulls up the PDF associated with that row of data. I was looking into the row selection bus, but honestly haven't looked too much into it. but it seems like that's specifically for report to report filtering. Want to know more about filter to PDF viewer.
Yeah, I think we have some built outs as well. I'd probably show you a finalized one, but we can try to build this out as well. Let's see. Let's take a look. I know that I think I have a finalized one, and we can just kind of reverse engineer it from that. Nope, nope, not in there. Yeah, so I don't think I have one. Let me just do one last check here. Insurance claim, no. Oh, I none, right?
Document routing utilizes this design paradigm.
Document routing. All right, thank you, Jared. So you want to end up wanting something like this? Is that basically the concept?
Yes, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Perfect, 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 perfect. All right, so as before, I can send you some stuff. We'll do some building here. Thank you, Jared, as well. Let's take a look at some of this. Document routing manager dashboard. Yep. Page, the manager dashboard. So yeah, it's going to end up being around that selection bus like you had mentioned earlier. We have it as a document viewer in a form tile. And then we are discarded. We are in our report. Second file name. Nope. We're going to send something here. I do not know here. Document data source for the folder.
I think if you click on
Okay,
the
there it is.
gray area, yeah.
I think I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's based on the field. So on this particular one, we're sending the document ID. We're sending it as a data filter change. So we're filter changing with this doc ID on document ID, because that's the item that we are trying to populate. I think this is also hidden, so that's why you don't see it here, like the document ID that's in that represents that, but we had it hidden. And then the document ID is what we're sending as a filter change source name doc ID. And then on our form tile, we have a doc viewer with doc ID as the data name. So let's go ahead and build some of that out here. I'll probably build it in this project because I know I've already got some data. Nope, nope, we'll do it in, sorry, document routing. Filter, report, dashboard, viewer. We'll put delete, sorry, I'm gonna delete it. All right. So yeah, once again, we're gonna do the report. And then on the right side, it's actually a form tile. And pick or create form tile. We are going to create a new form tile. New document form tile. And on this, we're going to put a document viewer. And your documents, are they PDFs, you said in the question? Is that right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. And we'll just call this, just for now, we'll call it lunch learn, so we can match up the other side too. Data name, lunch learn, put type. Document, yep. Lunch learn, making sure we got our settings crossed over. Again. Boom. And then on the document viewer, or sorry, on the report, we'll send that as a filter change. So pick or create default report. We'll just create a new one for now. Why not? Document data source. We're going to do the entity name, document ID, and I think that should be fine for now. And then on the document ID, like you said, we're going to send it out from here. Try lunch learn, see if that'll send over. Maybe see what we missed if it doesn't work. That manage page integration, add a page / dashboard. Save it, and we'll see if some of those parameters pop up. Nope, it's deleting. So we just got to figure out what we missed there. But that is the broad setup of it. But so let's go in and take a look. Duper, 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 duper. Let's got to figure out where I put that. Is there anything obvious I'm missing here, Jared? I'm trying to get this filter to populate over. Or the send data name. All right. Let's check it back on this side as well. Apologies.
Go back to the, right, whenever you create a form tile, click on the form tile, you have to edit the input data flow, because that's where we have to say, get that piece of information and populate it. So over here, if I can move. Now, what you'll need to do is now you need to use the get page variable step to say, grab the doc ID from the URL. And then you're going to utilize whatever internal document service step to get the ID by that document, and then pass that document inside of the, to the input on the end step of there. But once you complete that, that's the whole process. The main thing that I want to talk about that you want to keep in mind, I think it was Brian when you do this, right? Brian, this was your question, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The main thing you want to keep aware of is there's two types of storage methods and decisions. One's called document, which is where we just kind of put a document inside a database table called the document data source and decisions. You can use it. The only drawback to it is if you're going to be storing really large files, like I'm talking about like several gigs, very large files, you might not get, or you will have a performance hit because it's just shoving like it serializes, byte serializes that document and puts it in a database cell. So it's not very efficient. If you, in that circumstance where you know you're going to be doing a large file storages and you want to fetch that data to display in a document viewer, the other data type that we have for that circumstance that is performant with large documents is the file reference service. And that's what you'll have to do. So basically the steps that you would need to use, Rob, if you can show the two different document service and the file reference services in the internal services category in the flow designer, is you will use the steps found in there. And so it's either the document service or file reference service. So just to summarize, document, if you're going to be dealing with small documents, not very large, you can utilize the document service. If you're going to be dealing with large documents, like gigs and gigs of documents, you'll want to use file reference. And each of these steps over here will be used to fetch the document or file reference based on the ID that is available in the URL.
Sounds good.
Yep. And what we'll do
And from
too,
here,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, from here, do we like send in that like into the instead is where we send in like the file data information?
Yes.
Like we'll
you-
fetch. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you just add a fetch on depending if it's file reference or document. But close and save this, Rob, and go back to the document viewer of form control. In the document viewer, you can actually set it to whatever type you're using. So it doesn't have to be just file data. It could be file reference. It could be document. You have that option to be able to configure that all the way to the right.
Yeah.
So you can, so
Yeah.
if you're using a file reference, you can just set this to file reference and you don't have to do a weird conversion.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think we're using file data because we're pulling in the PDFs from like the shared folder. So we're like doing the network read or whatever.
Okay.
So I think we need to use like file data, but this is helpful for us.
Okay.
To build
What-
the data.
Awesome. What we'll do too is we can design a project where we'll have we'll have Chris send you a small project. We'll have two dashboards, one that shows documents from file reference, the other from document. And we'll also show like what if you have to convert it to file data, what that process is like. So if you just put your email in the chat, we'll send that to you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Do we have any other questions in the chat? Feel free to put them in there. If you have any questions in the chat, Q&A, anything like that, feel free to put them in there. If not, we will go ahead and start to work our way down so we can get some of these projects made and sent out and the videos uploaded. So I'll give you another few moments. If not, thank you for joining on Monday, May 6th. We'll go ahead and end the session for now so we can get started on these projects and send them out to customers. Thank you guys very much for joining. Thank you.